Maybe
I'll win
just
either
change
way.
yours. I don't know why, unless Empire win, in which case then I would know why. Sabotage.
Sabotage.
Sabotage. Look at that. That's a recent thread of games. Both of them have 2 losses within the last 5. But the thing about Virtus.pro, the story about Virtus.pro, the setting and the scene, is they get momentum. They build it by Twitch, removed by VP.
Okay.
So that's a bit of a choice removal there, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm gonna laugh if this is gonna turn into an Amaru ban. I don't think it will be, but
A Twitch Amaru ban.
a Twitch Amaru ban. Okay,
No.
gotcha. I was gonna say, just imagine it. After
Yeah, I
last
mean,
Playday.
it would be, I think, curious wouldn't
Wouldn't quite
stretch to the imagination of Amaru Ban. But as I was saying, Virtus.pro, they build momentum and they sort of thrive in it. And to be fair, going up against Empire right now, what we've seen on the recent couple of games for Empire is slow starts. They've lost 2 of them, won 1 of them, but the one that they won, they didn't really, hit the pace that we sort of expected from them. They didn't hit the pace that I think we wanted from them and what they've been recently capable. And sure, it was a bit of a better showing from some of the players, but Dan was a little bit absent for some of the recent Playdays, whereas he was such a big force in the early stint of the split for Empire.
Yeah, definitely so. And let's get underway. Bans have been tossed out. It's I would say the Twitch is like the weirdest one out of the 4.
It's a
right?
very particular ban.
It's a very
Because
targeted ban.
Let's have a look at the history of Twitch. Recently, she's had some fun tweaks in that the drones can jump.
Yeah,
They've
become more athletic.
They've become very athletic. They
Yeah.
watched the Summer Olympics and went, "Well, we can do that."
We can do that too.
And they zap for the range of no limitation.
Yeah, there is indeed that zap. Now it's turned into a laser, just
It's a
like
laser.
come out of the Evil Eyes.
Twitch is now the first hit scan operator in the game.
Is it what? The first hit scan operator in the game. Aren't they all hit scan because we're playing a shooter here? There's
Well, I
no bullet
mean-
travel tie.
I guess there's no drop off really, is there?
No,
either?
there's no drop off either.
My favorite hit scan operator is Twitch's drone, which has no limits, obviously, outside of the zap time. But you look at the setting that we're in, you're looking at a map that does have heavy structural holds. It's, if you're trying to attack on the top, you expect from an Empire defense a lot of stuff slapped into Cigar, slapped into the corners and the drop and the hatch. If you're down here, what we're expecting is, from Empire's hold, as well as any teams, a lot of stuff. Mute jammers aside, which can be caught from clever play with the drones, you're still looking at very solid holds. It's a strange sort of phenomenon, Cafe, because it was a huge problem in the old meta where it was a lot of slow holds, and here it's probably been the least extended out of the maps generally with the current Aruni Wamai stretch meta.
Yeah. And remember what they said on the desk last as well? Fresh, I believe, mentioned it. A Mute Mozzie combo could be making this very hard for Empire to drone all the way from that top. And add to that as well, there is going to be the Echo, which brings those Yokais and Evil Eyes as well. So really, some extra pace needs to be brought here by Empire if they want to deal with all the utility and the roamers as well. Maybe they will have to try and triage. Get rid of, for example, the roamers, just let them live and hit the side straight away. But if you do that, there is always going to be that information that lets them try and fall back. And, of course, hit you in the back right after as Milan gets the first kill right onto Joystick.
Opens it up, takes care of Joystick there with a swing round on the white stairs side as Red and Cigar starts to fall. Rask suffers next. He's trying to pull his way away, but through 2 soft walls, he just gets out of there. Hands over Lumber, and the rest of the team decides to drop because, to be fair, what they're trying to do there is waste time. If they can put a little bit of fear into Empire's roam clear here with the combination of not only a little bit of their presence, which is now pulled away, but, as you said, those Mozzie pests, those Mute Jammers, it's going to put Empire in a bit of a trickier and tougher spot to try and pull through. Now, with Joystick down, with less the ability to clear through and less grenades, they're going to have to be a little bit sharper about it. They have the sledge above. They have the ability to start trying to crack open some pockets of space, and Flores, too, who is probably going to get a lot of play, especially with Twitch off the board today.
He's going to have to get rid of that. And actually, I wanted to say, they don't have the buck. An operator we had in a know-how siege segment earlier today and can create some of these angles. Instead, it's going to be the sledge, opening up with that sledgehammer, and there's still 2 nitros on the board. So you see right now, Rask currently having one in hand, actually just swapped out of it, was probably waiting for someone to smack it open right above him. So he had the opportunity to get the nitro in to make sure, of course, he would be able to pick up that kill straight away. Either way, flashbangs are about to be coming in. It's just no pressure really coming down yet, though, from Shepard, who's just holding out the angle for now.
That's it. Pasha was actually able to rotate off there before it became a big pressure situation. They've popped a little bit of space as they use the Flores drones to allow them the ability to cut off Sink and Coffee. Gets caught on the follow-up there. The swing round and the pre-fire down. Dan connects with Milan, who was sort of caught resting a little bit there. Try to catch the ankles, but couldn't quite lock it off. Rask is low health. He doesn't want to overextend, but look at the timer at the top, 10 seconds. Shepard's got to see if he can drop and make this connect. Dan's doing all the work he can, but over the top, there's Dan dropped. Now with only a handful of seconds left, an Echo drone drifts around the corner. It's up. The Nitro over the top doesn't quite connect. Can't get it, and always comes through with the double that secured the round in those final 5 seconds.
Finn Nitro got shot there, actually. It was tossed over. You did see it go, but no explosion followed after when the Nokia phone was pressed. And that means Empire are able to pick up that first round here. They managed to identify the issue. All right, we just lost one of our members to Milan. There is a heavy roam setup. You know what? Let's just try and run right after them. As soon as the rest of the VP members dropped, they stopped the hold, truly. They just fell back towards the sites and just around it. Gave the top floor away to Empire, and that worked into their advantage. Able to pick up a couple of kills just by boldly dropping through that hatch.
That's, I guess, a good sign for Empire. They're off to the worst possible foot. Joystick had gone down, and here these 2 players that have been those consistency points. I'm not entirely sure if they're the current top rated for the team, but in my off-the-record books, they sure probably will be. Dan, and always, especially recently, we talked a bit about him, how he's so consistent, even when the team wasn't doing too hot. He was still sort of putting in a good game quite often. Recently, he's had a little bit more of a mantle to be able to perform in. Being sharp enough to put the pressure in the gunfight, I think, is where they're going to draw the most joy, because Virtus.pro build behind that. Virtus.pro can be aggressive. Things like Milan getting the slip and the drop on the opposite side when he's trying to hold on to VIP, and otherwise the pressure that was coming in against Sink and the backside, that is what Empire needed control on, and there, with a back foot, and not much time to do it with, they're able to at least find some.
And at least that first round will already be helpful. How often haven't we seen, especially since Cafe just came out, 5 or 6 rounds really going the way of the defenders on the map of Cafe. The X-Scars will be used to open up some of these barricades. Gone 6 as well, just barely sees the leg there, but it's not going to be able to catch off the player. It's going to be Joystick just holding it off right now, knowing someone was just inside the bathroom. Could be a rotation back from the freezer, but at least a bit of pressure is coming down already.
Kajeka is going on a bit of an adventure. Might want to run out here. That will be called, and Joystick will just hold. But you hit the door first, fire a couple of shots, and keep them concerned and guessing. The lock-off, though, was Shepard, who actually found Pasha elsewhere, underneath and onto the top of Whiskey. I believe that's where the body was. Though we did see another player playing towards the bottom of red, so it could have been elsewhere. It's actually there, the lock-off onto Milan, and that's again another body to full. Kajeka has to try and find his way back to the top. This aggressive game isn't really working out so far for VP. Kajeka is going to head round. There is someone who's gone for the swing. He's going to just not quite make it as a body drops on the site itself. Rask is now currently the only one left. Kajeka is caught, but is able to slip through. We saw why he did that. He couldn't rotate around to the door because he'd give himself up to the body that was playing just outside the train window here. Rask is going to do a little bit of last-minute restructuring. He's been able to get back up, though. Kajeka has been able to at least put something else around the side of Rask rather than just good luck, mate.
Trying to come back together here. 2v3 they are. The plant needs to come down soon, but the freezer is not under control yet. And As the pings are coming down, there is plenty of information to work off here for Virtus.pro. Dan decides to quickly up onto an RCE, use it as a bit of intel gathering, maybe even take care of a rotation, a player or not. A piece of utility as Shepard just swings in and gets the kill. He digs in deep right away and goes to the plant. It's only up to Rask right now inside of the bathroom, gets the first kill. Rotates all the way over to the cocktail balcony. But the question is, will they be aware as he swings around the corner and is jumping on that table, hoping to find an elevated angle?
I mean, the first kill for this on Empire to lead them in was fantastic. Now they've just got to see if they can find a loose Rask. He's dabbled around, finds the first fight, and just locks it off. 30 seconds, and the last body's gone all the way up. Dan got out of there via the top of red, puts himself onto the skylight, is going to send a Flores drone in, and that's going to put a bit of a problem on this defuse. Has to pull himself away and wait for the explosion. And oh, he's sending in the boys one after the other, and that's how he's stemming it. He locks it off with the gun, but I said we're going to see a lot of Flores. I mean, we're also going to see a lot of ways it can be used.
Yeah, definitely so. Use it as a bit of a post-plant security there. Able to use one to drop him off the defuse, then sending in the second, but he cancelled the controlling, so he just drove right ahead towards that corner whilst he actually jumped right after trying to get the kill. As Rask, well, he decided to try and stick it from there on, but wasn't able to successfully do so, and Empire now lead 2-0. Echoes being 6 picked out, the castle will be making it onto the board. And so far, Empire doing super well. They have been able to strike into the side, especially these opening kills in that last round. They were very helpful. Of course, a bit of a jump out we've had. I believe it was Kerzheka that ran out. Or was it WTGs? Was either of the two at least?
Kerzheka.
Yeah, he jumped out right after him, trying to pick up the kill. Managed to get that one. Did take a bit of a tag on his way back in because, had to open up the garage. It's a bit of a, bit of time that gets wasted there. At that time, there was already a lot of control for Empire onto the actual site as Rask tried to hold off to it on his lonesome for a very long time and ended up in a 1v1 in the end in the post-plant. Had the opportunity to potentially close it out, but, Dan still having 2 RCEs left. Would have, of course, used those first if they weren't trying for the active defuse already.
Now, one of the things I said at the start of this was that what we've seen from Empire recently has sometimes been a bit of a slow start. Whether they won the rounds or didn't on the previous Playdays, it didn't feel like the pace that we know they're accustomed to. They sometimes had to warm up to their opponents. They've come in red hot. They've made sure that they've hit Cafe Dostoyevsky with their pace. They want to keep the pressure consistent. They're always looking for the next possibility. They're looking to put pressure onto the site. They're not sitting around and waiting. And against a team like VP, who they know very well, as we've cited and seen, they have to make sure that they keep that game because that is really the only way to stay ahead of the curve, especially when they're on the bit of the swing that they are here. The opening 2 rounds, and they're going to get cracked right into the third. The difference is so far we haven't seen Virtus.pro step themselves up to go for the full take. The drone was pinged, by the way, past on Kerzheka, and Pasha then locked it off, but all of them are on the roof now.
All of them are indeed on the roof, not trying to challenge the potential run out to come through. This time also the Gun 6 has been saved as a grenade is about to swing around the corner. And WTG just into a safe space. But his ADS that was around the corner, I believe, has been taken care of. And as the X-Cars are starting to pop, you see that they're trying to create themselves a rotation all the way back down through the hatch, of course, as well. And Joystick, well, he has the opportunity to try and hold that. So we'll do that right now as well.
WTG has pulled back. He's under a bit too much pressure as the drone started to come through. Gone for the rotation underneath. The call on the window punch will have gone through. Joystick is just going to reverse repel and wait and hold on for anybody that might try and swing up the stair set itself. Red is currently entirely locked off and under watch, but as it should be with the start of the push here. Now they have that connection between Cigar and the big Christmassy piano-y beautiful room itself. Joystick is going to go for the entrance here instead. Feels confident with the lockdown and control they've got on the backside as all of the Empire players start to flood in. The difference this time round, Virtus.pro haven't gone into those early firefights. Unfortunately, the Gun 6 is caught there. Going to use the grenade to drop the bulletproof camera so he doesn't
he did get it.
But that didn't connect either. A bit of a mistake as Milan is able to open up with the double. Swung around with the Ump and able to find 2 heads, 2 quick blows to Empire.
Joystick now dropping down towards the bottom floor. Milan picks up his triple. Still with a UMP. He's doing some absolute work right here. Shepard is looking to try and maybe challenge the angle as well. Spots out someone on the back of cocktail balcony though. He's thinking about potentially going for that gunfight first, but he's not able to hit him yet as Joystick just the bottom of the white stairs, waiting for someone to push in. Goes aggressive right now, tries to go for the pre-fire, but Pasha is the one to get that one in the end, and Milan locks it off for the 4K. So flawless round from Virtus.pro. Now will be the first one on the board, as Empire already have managed to pick up 2. This one looked a lot more convincing from them, though.
It was good. It was better from Virtus.pro because they didn't try and overextend. They didn't try and throw themselves into the fight against Empire, a team that we've seen has had very good intel on those roams. And I think that's something that VP have clued into. Although they were playing a lot of Mutant, they were playing a bit of Mozzie earlier, they weren't entirely in control of the drones. They weren't entirely in control of the game that Empire had. The runouts were watched. Yeah. Those isolated plays were unfortunately even more isolated because Empire said, well, we've got one player here loose. Let's just keep a focus on that. And you guys do this and sort of bait the play. Virtus.pro didn't fall for that this time. They had some ideas on drones. They didn't try and swing into them aggressively. And I think that caution and that application that expect that Empire know what you're doing is something that's going to help them in the long run of this showdown.
WTG could have been picked up early though, because he did actually rotate down, but as he moved into the engine room, he saw that the top part of the barricade had been destroyed, and that gave him the idea that someone might still be on the rappel, actually holding off the mining hallway next to it. So instead of trying to rotate up through the red stairs and maybe get a C4 up to the roof and get a kill like that, he decided to go back up from the white stairs. With that, he saved his life. He saved the opportunity to continue trading rather than losing the first initial gunfight yet once more. And I think, of course, it's just a small detail, but in the end, it does all lead and it does all contribute towards that round win that Virtus.pro now have. Empire already have 2 attacking rounds, though. It is considered quite good. Let's see if they can make it a 3rd, maybe even a 4th, if they're feeling confident. But, you know, 3 will always be the first point of, or the first goal, a milestone. Will be going forward the current 2 that they have. So they're again preparing on the piano side right here, trying to put up as much pressure as they possibly can. They also know that every single take on this map starts from this top floor, and thus they'll start opening up again. The drones are starting to roll in, the hatches are being opened up, and you see the pests are being taken care of. It's just the question is how many VP players are actively trying to stop them from getting this top floor control.
Well, you can see WTG is putting a bit of an eye. There goes the barbs, and that's going to force Kaid into a slightly trickier position. Those triple walls are locked off with a single claw on the floor of the bathroom. And with a bit of a rotation around to the mirror on the back side, it's all steady droning. They're playing their game in a way now as Virtus.pro, where they want to be aggressive, but they're keeping a bit of an arm's length and an arm stretch. And the response here from Empire is to see if they can get control of white. Again, they're trying to isolate the play and the players. They're going to see if they can cut off from the back on the cocktail balcony side. Always is going to step up here and just put them into a tricky, unfortunate, uncomfortable situation. The body on lumber is waiting for the possibility of a swing, and they're going to sort of sit pretty and hope that they're able to get the early take.
Always has been spotted, tries to fall back. Doesn't know if Krzyzewski knows, of course, but Ras gets the first kill. Yeah, once more, Repel in actually came through. Joystick is about to be swinging right onto him, gets that kill, and that means that Cocktail now seems to be in control. Always with a grenade kill. Will be bringing it up next as well. As Milan manages to find a trade, and we continue going on here with another C4 from below. It brings it back to a 2-2 with just 60 seconds left here. Empire, well, they need to find a plant at some point, but at least they have the opportunity to take that top full control now with no more nitros on the board.
There was either 3, there was at least 3, maybe even 4 people died this round because of explosives. It was really just this sudden, like, hit him with the barrage, boys! And everybody was suddenly dead in a multitude of different places. And I guess that's the hold that Virtus.pro wanted to play here. They had a couple of bodies that were locked off and keeping a bit of security and a bit of pace. But now, obviously, it's just going to come down to the fight as Shepard and Always are going to see if they can cruise their way across. They have everything they need, in a way, at this point. They still have the hammer to hit down and open up some angles. The one thing that's becoming a bit of a pressing matter is 20 seconds. Whatever they stick has to work and connect, and Always, well, he might stay up here, but it's a massive risk, because if anything goes wrong, you won't be able to recollect that diffuser, so they're going to have to double down, go for the drive, and hope the cover comes through. The first fight comes out. Virtus.pro, no, they just need to pull back, and it's around the back. Here it is, WTG! Off the back of the side by the Christmas tree, and whatever you guys call that. I saw there was a debate on Twitter.
There's so many debate. I don't know what to call it now anymore, because everybody's using different calls for it.
There was a lot of different ones, and Dez,
yes,
Dez as he does, waded into the mud.
Of course he did.
Waded into Twitter and poked the fire.
Like he likes to do.
He likes to do. I mean, I assume if you asked even our desk, there would
maybe
be
that's
at
a good
least
one.
2 different opinions.
You know what? Next time, No House Siege, we're just going to do call-outs.
No House Siege, you get on it. Every time Medics just suggested that it's called Dez and Split. Well, Dez has to be the lower one because he's short, right?
Yeah.
And then Split is...
But the Split one doesn't make sense, really.
I think that's the joke.
I know. But even before people are thinking we are going to be serious.
No, we're not. Hi, welcome to Rainbow Six Siege. Hi, welcome, Virtus.pro. Thank you for joining us, 2-2.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, a spicy round. There's no two ways about it. As I said, it was a
very explosive round.
Yeah, a cacophony of explosions littered the top 2 stories. But only one team was able to stay standing at the end, and it was the swing of the shotgun. A great read, and I was about to say it, but then the play-by-play kicked in, which was the Virtus.pro player inside Laundry went for a first swing and then pulled away, didn't continue the fight, which they could have done because of the rotating play around on the backside, because of WTG.
He was just, you know, taking a sprint up there. He wasn't even trying to slowly go around the corner. He knew he had the opportunity. One was planting, the other one was taking a fight deeper into reading, so that was the perfect moment to swing around with that shotgun. Also little to no time left to actually get off the plant and try and go for the challenge there, so perfectly timed out by VP in the end there. I was actually praising Empire. I liked their use of the sledge. They were opening up on default spots right next to the pillar, for example, just to make sure that no one was actually hiding there. And all those small pieces of information, while they led eventually to them being able to go and attempt to plant. It's just that the lack of, for example, a flank drone is really what could have been the difference maker here. Scyther is instantly being downed here. Rask wins out on that first gunfight, finishes him off with the pistol. And that is VP taking the lead here yet once more as Joystick is in hot pursuit now.
Now that was, let's try and exploit a moment. They obviously had a drone and idea on where that player was, and Scyther took a risk, tried to spray through the soft barricade to get it. It was great reactions from Rask, suffered a few bullets, swung around and connected with his gun at the point of everything popping open. It's that sort of situation. It's tracer bullets. You have that to work with if they don't lock you off quickly. Joystick being there so close afterwards, you know, if Scyther had waited another 3 seconds, 4 seconds, they might have been able to pick up a trade. It's one of those opportunities. Do you take it when you have it, or do you wait and see what happens later? Either way, it gives Virtus.pro that leg up. Hey, remember last time we were on this site and Virtus.pro had an early leg up? They still lost it. It's still not over. There's still a lot of work to be done in Empire, making sure that they do all of their work so quickly. Look at the pace that they're applying. Look at the same drive they've done before. The next step will probably be WTG, where Milan was playing before.
Yeah, Mewjammer in that position is going to be taking care of the first RCE Retiro. Means that the utility deeper into the side is not going to be able to be shot. And the first Nitro lands as well. Always is the first one to fall on these Nitros. There's still, I believe, no Nitros left actually. It's just the only one that we'll have to worry about. Now got used. Still another piece of utility on that board that could be coming in clutch at the very end. We still have 3 smoke canisters. We still have 2 evil eyes on board. And Empire, well, they barely have any control. They're on that first floor. They have the hatch open, but they don't have any of the openings that they would require to go for a drop or an actual take. And as they now seem to be putting down a little bit of an ID towards the bakery side, they have the opportunity to catch Karjeka off guard, but they need to be very quick for it. The question is, do they know? It seems like they don't. The Elder comes in and picks up the first as Joystick instantly responds.
No, they 100% had an idea that he was there, but they couldn't quite connect with the kills, and he was quick enough. Pasha pops the shotgun round the side, leaves Shepard alone. The mute jammers, the Aruni gates to cover the approach from Freezer. The adaptation Virtus.pro utilized was what drove them towards the end of the round here. Sure, their reactions to the fights happened quickly, and sure, that kill on the top could have very easily gone the other way if a couple of stray bullets had connected elsewhere, but still, pay attention to those Aruni gates that were on Freezer. Pay attention to the changes that they put in place there. Even things like, instead of just opening the anchor holds on the Freezer, they opened higher holes as well. They had more choice and more extension, and Empire had to go to a plan B that just did not connect.
It did not connect this time indeed, and we are going to see a bit of a change to come through. I think on the board, Maestro as well. We're going back to bar and cocktail lounge, up to that top floor. See how it will work out this time around. We see being done here, the bar being opened up with that shotgun, is all for visibility, because very often teams like to try and go for the plant in that deep corner. You just come out of cigar, you get in deep right, left behind that table, and try and go for the plant right after. So normally you do see this bar being opened up because it allows you to get some line of sight from the freezer. And normally that little table there as well is going to get punched in by Pasha the Aruni. If he feels like it, of course. Now, there's another way at it, actually. Another operator that can be used. He's very efficient in doing this exact thing. Can you guess who it is? It's a single operator. He's super efficient in opening up that bar and the table and anything you want on
Does
Cafe.
it rhyme with...
I don't think it rhymes with
planka?
anything. No, it's Oryx.
Oh, I like Chanka.
I think it would be... Well, maybe it would work. I don't know.
Maybe, sorry, have I just thrown it out?
don't use the
Sorry,
ammo.
no, only Oryx can do this.
You can just run into it.
You can just run into it.
And you don't use any ammo for it. So
You lose a little bit of health.
no, you don't actually with the bar.
Oh,
Only
really?
with walls you lose health. So, like, Orcs can just run into the table and into the bar and not lose health,
Don't
and
take
everything is
Oryx
destroyed.
on a night out, but do take him
On Cafe out.
on Cafe Dostoyevsky in Rainbow Six Siege. Or if you do take him on a night out, just...
Give him a helmet.
If he starts kicking off, just be like, I don't know him.
I don't know who he is.
Sorry about this. He does this all the time.
I don't know him, but he does it all the time.
I don't know if he does it all the time. Hey, WTG, what you doing? Last time we saw you on this hold, both times you were generally locked in towards the fight here on the top red. This time, it seems like Virtus.pro have pulled away. They're not going to keep a solid hand on Cigar. They know that that's the approach here, and they want to make sure that they're in a position actually to say, well, to be fair, playing and waiting for them to come a little bit closer has paid off a couple of times now. Virtus.pro might be able to do the same thing as they let the first bit of this hold fall and instead go for a secondary. WTG is underneath with the C4, has the potential to throw that up if the pressure starts to come towards Rask, as we hear that laser gate on the connecting door go first. The grenades are seeing if they can connect elsewhere. The rotate onto Whiskey is going to give the idea that there's a man in the corner. They're going to start burning everything. The ADS didn't actually catch the first grenade, but it does that one, and that keeps the shield a little bit more solid. The flash didn't quite roll far enough. That one definitely will. And now it's just a matter of seeing if they can pull themselves back and restack.
It was like it when defenders quickly go on the camera right after they lose their current position. Bit of a, of course, a bit of a mispress there. Either way, going to see more of these X-Cars being used. You hear the ACS-12 actually going off, and only one of the two pellets will be detonating. It's right above on that battlefield. Just look at the angle here that Milan is setting up. We'll be able to take care of the RC as well. Wonder if they're going to be aware of the fact that he is playing down there, and that is going to be the kill from that angle. Milan will be falling back and jumping back on that big table.
Yeah, that's no way you can stay for too long, but it's paid off very early on. Joystick, in the meantime, is able to spray into the first fight and the second with Karsheka, putting a bit of a balance back over the fight towards the long bar itself. Joystick is trying to keep driving himself. He wants to go further up white. They're holding off the cover in the rotation, and a canister gets popped 20 seconds. And that's now the concern. Do they try and run their way up white and push the fight onto Pasha and Lumber, or do they rotate and go across the firing field that is Milan repeatedly hitting that heavy hammer shotgun? They're going and trying to stick it just on the in row of the default plant, with Always offering all the cover he can. Pasha drives his way through, looks for the first fight. He goes high, but Joystick went low, and that just leaves Milan with that big hammer-hitting gun. He's been able to open up the second person this round. Now he has the moral decision. Do they try and take the fight all the way down? It's made for him by Joystick, revealing that they know exactly where he is. The Bulletproof is looking all the way over the long bar as they're going for the rotate. Fortunately dropped, with Empire locking off the even half just about, and we find ourselves 3 for 3.
Good for Empire there. They managed to pick up 2 early rounds, then had a bit of a drop back as VP managed to, well, chain 3 up in a row. And have managed to at least get that third. That keeps us in a very even split here. Well, perfectly even. A lot of even. Yeah, even, perfectly.
It's all that, innit?
It's hard. His language, this is. Bar Cocktail, Empire going to the top floor first. And we do see no 6 picks from them. The Hibana, though, is being swapped out for the Thermite. So X-Cars turn into an Exothermic. Of course, both do the same job, just one is a bit more flexible than the other. However, the Thermite creates these bigger openings. And technically, on that top floor, you only really need 2 openings. You need to open up right into the piano from the top of red, and then potentially into the bar from piano on, just to create yourself another rotation. So those are 2 angles you could go for. And let's see if those will indeed be the play here for the side of Virtus.pro. Milan, this time, not having the opportunity to go to the Twitch because they banned it themselves, will be on that sledge. has lost the SMG-11. Now, many would have said that this is going to be hurting his pick rate quite a bit, and Buck is going to be even more prevalent. However, I have not quite seen that yet myself, though. So I think it's not as bad as people expected it to be.
No. This did trigger a cool conversation that we had in the group chat the other day.
It definitely did.
About, obviously, hey guys, you see the patch notes? You see them pretty patch notes?
I think as soon as those patch notes come out, that we're definitely going to see more Buck.
Oh, we're going to see so much Buck. Why is that, Hap?
They get 2 heart breachers in the patch and test server at least, so it's not live yet. Don't worry, it's not live. It's being tested first, but it seems like they might get 2 heart breach gadgets, which suddenly makes him very capable at opening everything.
That's it, and I think that's the very exciting prospect. Is all of those operators with a heart breach gadget? You think of him, you think of Capitao, you think of all these people with a lot of pocket utility. Now, if you're looking at a map like, for example, Club or in some places Cafe, where you've got hatch jobs that need to be done, suddenly they're just as good as someone like Ace. They can open just as many as someone like an average Maverick player. But then you have all this other pocket utility. It's a very exciting prospect for what may feel like a bit of a minor change. Enough about that, though. That's future Siege. Let's talk about current Siege. And currently, there's a bit of a siege happening over the top of the floor here. They have all the eyes for the potential of some destructive run-out capability. Rask with the Jackal is going to see if he can find some feet that might have gone for a bit of a roam. But Empire aren't really playing that game. In fact, they're happy to stick themselves all towards the top.
Seems to be a lot of utility being tossed down here into the cocktail balk. Evil Eye, however, still alive, always feeling quite safe as well, just jumping onto the table for now. Pings are coming out, and Milan is thinking about potentially getting a second grenade up there. He needs to angle it a little bit further. He's thinking about maybe even going for the player right here, opening up a very small hole, which might land that grenade right next to the table. Actually, no, it's for an entry of the RC, potentially to coming right after, as grenades are being tossed in on either side.
They're trying to find the first body, Virtus.pro. They don't want to overextend because they know the danger. I'm assuming that was to an Evil Eye that was just underneath that drop as often as placed there. There's a Florist drone that's making them a bit uncomfortable, but they can't quite swing into the fight. Scyther actually had more room to escape that if he wanted to, but if anything, it's just going to buy them a bit of an opportunity here to open up the split instead. Scyther still dancing. His place is now untenable. There's no way to really keep yourself safe from those 2 angles, and it's Pasha that actually opens up Dan with the first swing round. Dan, who is obviously caught as well, isolated in the bathroom, couldn't really go anywhere else. WTG's going to long arm the grenade down White Stairs. Goodbye joystick. Caught out, and now they've suddenly got a bit of momentum. 2 bodies down, and 1 more for measure underneath, and suddenly Virtus.pro is everywhere, from no control and no locks to 4 bodies down, and an attempt on the diffuser, make it a flawless, and Virtus.pro, they fired into that top floor.
For so long, it looked like Empire had this round sorted, right? Like, the grenades, the first set of them came in, weren't able to find anything. The first RCEs managed to get taken care of as well, but as soon as that freezer opened up, the big angle was created and the first pick went their way. Suddenly, it all went VP side, and they managed to pick up these kills one by one without even losing a single one of themselves. And Empire, well, they lose out on their first defense. Still have 5 more to go, however, to make sure they lock off a win here. Currently, as you can see in the live ranking, on the 10th place for the team that was the runner-up of the major. Second in the world, up to 10th in Europe. It's weird how it goes sometimes.
I don't know if the live rankings
I was going to say, I wouldn't... They have 1 win, right?
Because usually there's
2
up
wins.
and down arrows as well, regardless of...
Yeah, but I think at the start it was already like this. You know what? I'm just going to get the Liquipedia open just to see whether or not...
Get the Liquipedia
I'm going to get the
open.
Liquipedia open. Oh, live ranking's not working.
I knew it!
I've been betrayed. They're 4th. I know.
I've gone with a new system. I'm doing all of my research and trying to keep it in my brain so I cast more fresh into the game. Because before I would have like 2 books in front of me, as you know. And I'd get too lost in the source, you know, lost in the source of
See, and I've heard them say before, they are 4th, and Vitality and VP are right behind them. But for some reason, I just went with what was on my screen. So that happens sometimes.
Get that claw back.
Just trying to drop the 1 plate. Wasn't placed in the right position.
The mistake is you're supposed to say yeehaw. When
oh no! You're not getting that one back.
Oh, he's going to hop up on the table.
Oh,
Does he get it?
Why didn't you do that before?
Yeah, he could have done that before. I guess desperate times call for creative measures, and there's at least one.
All right.
That wall is got. And obviously, thankfully, with the changes where you can't destroy your own team's gadgets, that mute jammer survives. Because that was very close. That was a very good change when that happened.
Yeah, I really liked it as well. I know the first couple of days, though, people were like, hey, can you come up pick your mute jammer? Because I want to put... And I'm like, no, you don't. You can just put it down. It's like, but I will destroy your gauge. No, you won't. You can just...
Now the real danger is teammates throwing gadgets through your renegates.
That's the only danger.
That happens.
That happens quite a bit.
Yeah.
Especially when someone is right next to the renegade and then someone's like, oh, I can get the electric claw through, and then steps out the way, activates it right at the moment.
Des is a very specific story about Staff FBL and exactly this causing his death, but I'll let him rant about that later. For now, let's rant about this approach. Virtus.pro has been able to take across the top, and they're going to see if they can put some pressure onto the cocktail bout side. Joystick, well, they suffer a bit of damage, but actually they suffer all the damage towards those Hibana pellets. That's what I was talking about, as underneath they still have the cover, and Virtus.pro is going to have to do a little bit more. Cover the smoke. I mean, you might be able to get some of them, but not all of them this time. It's a shotgun, it's everything, and there's a bit of an opening, a bit of a hole, and that's going to put Joystick in a tricky position, not just for angles, but also potentially a very wily grenade.
I don't think they're going to get a grenade through that. Just if you look how messed up that
$1
wall
million
is,
shot.
That's going to be having to be a very, very well-tossed grenade in that case. But VP, they managed to get that opening. Now a bit more pressure is down onto Joystick, and he's thinking about potentially going through that window. You just saw him look at it. Grenades are being tossed in. Still, Joystick needs to go a bit more aggressive here as flashbangs are coming in on his back, and has to drop the hatch at some point. Still has the opportunity to do that. Drones are definitely spotting him out with Denver. Jump out for the double! Empire are able to lock off two. It's Rask, however, to find one, and suddenly he's in the middle of the site here. Has the opportunity to pick up some kills, but no, it's the prone angle from Joystick. I believe that is, no, Scyther that will be able to pick up that kill. Leaves it all up to WTG right now on the back of the white stairs. Goes for the one on the top, but it's Joystick to lock it off in the end there. And Empire, the great jump out from Den there, or run out rather, able to pick up that double kill. Locking off this round.
They put all their focus into Joystick, and it took one wily Dan to be able to slip his way around. And Rask was in a position where he was able to get the kill not long after, and then decided to try and drive his way through onto site, but that would have been called.
Yeah.
And that was covered because Joystick still had done all the work in terms of just saying, hey guys, look at me. I'm above laundry hatch. You got to get rid of me. You got to kill me. Everybody, ha ha ha, look at me, look at me. And then it allowed the rest of the team, because not only had they wasted so much time at that point and so much utility, but all the focus of all 5 players was on just Joystick at that point.
Yeah, it definitely was. Everybody was trying to focus on Joystick, trying to take care of him, forcing him to drop that hatch, but the rest of Empire was like, don't drop, just stay there. We're going to try and save you from whatever is trying to take care of you.
Live rankings. Fixed.
I've heard. The bane of my existence.
Thank you, production. You are
a savior.
A gift to us. Do you... Okay.
Do I?
I'm going to point at something, and do we mention it?
What do we point? Oh. I don't think we mentioned that.
No, we don't.
No, I don't think we will.
That's a whoopsie.
That's a whoopsie.
Not from production side.
No, totally not. You know, it happens, I guess. Maybe it's a bait.
Could be.
Could be. We've seen that before.
Don't trust everything that you see.
Yeah. Some things are a lie on the internet.
Oh well. 4-4.
Everyone's going to be so confused.
No, some people will have worked it out, and
they will.
They're probably the people who have worked it out
are the people that need it,
that wanted that.
Yeah.
But 4-4. Empire versus Virtus.pro. Virtus.pro thought this was the time to take a time out. It's even, and they expected more. And to be fair, well, apart from you guys at home who voted primarily for Empire, the desk seemed kind of firmly in the favor of Virtus.pro performing better on this map based on history. Even those that thought that Empire could take the showdown, Jess,
she just gave up on them.
She gave up on it because this is statistically and historically a great map for Virtus.pro and a less great map for Empire. So far, the fact that it's even, the fact that it's a 4-4 is a little bit of a worry for Virtus.pro, who think that they should have more control of this map.
I'm pretty sure I typed down, but apparently I didn't. Because I typed out the entire teams, right? So I typed out G2 Esports, for example, for my predictions. That's a bit of a... Oh well, apparently it says VP here. Anyway, we are in the round. I just quickly checked the talent predictions, by the way, because I wanted to make sure whether or not I was actually Empire or VP. Just so I know whether or not Jess is going to take a big loss or a big win at the end of the game here today. The bigger win will be with whoever is going to be able to pick up the majority of the points, because they are all still in contention. As you can see right now, with the working live ranking, 4th place from Team Empire, 6th from Virtus.pro. And Nitro is being... Dan, you did not have to detonate that. That was on your side of the wall. That did not even go to the outside of the building. Had no opportunity of picking up any of the VP players. But yeah, it's going to be the first of 2. First of 3, actually, gone. They are available. So still 2 there. As right now, I believe that's an Evil Eye trying to take care of some of the X-Carrots. No, it's not.
Ooh, the claw just
late, rather.
Yeah, just a little bit late. Doesn't quite get the connection they want. It opens up a bit of a hole, but it means that they can't extend the hole for now. However, they can put some dangerous utility in there if they feel that's within their power. The Mute Jammer might cause some more problems, but the setup that they have here is the attention played underneath. An explosion on Whiskey doesn't quite connect with anybody, as they'd opted for a different rotation, instead taking the drop and not opening the rotation from the top of red stairs into that little nook and cranny on the corner that often gives you the width to fight a player in Dan's position. Remember, he was the first gone before because they were able to breach this wall to his left-hand side. This time,
he's running.
It's the grenade. He knew what was coming, and he very succinctly got out of there.
So very small holds, very tough to challenge, as Joystick is going to be able to pick up the first on the round. I believe that was through the... No, it was actually outside of the window, so he's going to be able to get that kill. Turps Kurzeka, that's the line gone. No more E1Ds to pop, and that is definitely going to be helpful there, as a flank drone has been set up, just to see if someone is pushing up on the white stairs, just so WTG has the opportunity to take the bathroom under his control and potentially push into the freezer afterwards. Now, we did see the last time around, they opened up into that freezer just to create a bit of an opening on the VP side. This time, they don't get the opportunity to, as WTG, well, he thought about swinging, but there's someone really far up, actually, in that hallway, just sitting there.
Well, a very quick pick back up there, and Pasha puts at least one back in their favor, but in a 3 versus 2, you've got to do more than just scream across the site. Always takes the next 2. It's a trade, actually, to lock it out with Pasha, and the Virtus.pro timeout didn't quite pay the dividends that they wanted it to. Joystick was that problem, that thorn in the side of Virtus.pro there, as was pointed out, headed out the side of the building to get the opener, and then from that point onwards actually looped all the way back round to find another fight in the top. Virtus.pro were a little bit stalled, a little bit stunned, and I think that was how they actually planned it or took it the first time round. And Empire, if we're going to compliment how Virtus.pro responded with their defenses to Empire's takes, same thing, opposite side this time round. That loose play, that aggression across the board, that is what led Empire there into that round. Now, they're only one away from confirming OT at least.
That will be the goal. Just to at least get that 1 point in. It's going to be helpful in the long run. You might not know it now yet, but you never know if that would be the difference between making it to the major, that one singular point, or to just drop out of that contention after all. So there is still 2 Playdays after this one. So there's still plenty to play for here. You want to make sure that you keep and stay inside of that top 4, because you know it's just harder to break into that top 4 because you're just more reliant on every other team to drop the ball somewhere. Either way, it is going to be an extended hold into the bakery. Of course, the same with VIP. That is quite default. That is basically every team ever nowadays. You need to make sure someone is in here just to stop them from opening up that freezer freely, or to drop them, let them drop the hatch freely. So that is why you see that player in VIP. The bakery one, it's a bit risky. If you lose the player inside there, suddenly there's a full rotation and a lot of lines of sights that can be used by the attackers. So it's good to keep that in mind.
Well, Joystick might find himself not truly exploring the ins and outs, as he's gotten himself a bit closer to home for the hold here, and they're going for a top-down clear. Rask is still bringing the Jackal. Shepard is trying again. Trying again.
Oh, he gets it.
How does Medics always know where to go to?
It's probably when you see 0-1, 0-1. It's like he does something, you know?
I think Medics just has a sixth sense.
He might have a
runouts and a player struggling to do something.
That's it, right? And it's like every single time a player is struggling to get something done, we somehow catch it.
Medics is there like,
I exposed another one.
Caught them slipping in his words, but Slip in is the first thing that they do here. Virtus.pro have slipped in to the top floor. They're going to steadily start to pull apart some of the clear and see if they can get a confident swing. The drone just got caught by that mute jammer, freed and allowed to move further forward, steadily setting themselves up a network that's being watched a little bit by Empire, who have handed over the top floor and most of the middle, though they are paying a bit of attention there.
Definitely still looking. They have some cameras, some defaults are still up. They're trying to get the information, see what side is first being hit. Of course, you have that one Nitro available on Scyther. I want to use that one to get back. Oh, that is unfortunate. Didn't completely get open up. The wall did get open up, but the flooring underneath didn't. It's going to be the Sledge that has to revisit that one with a hammer just to make sure that the Caber finishes the job there. Either way, see some rotations coming through as the defaults are being opened up. The power positions are being exposed, meaning they need to find new spots which are a little bit safer. It doesn't help if you stuck two of your explosives, one into the floor and one into the little bit that was left on the top of the bars there. It's definitely not going to be helping you because that was an angle they wanted to open up. We said it before, you can only do that with the Buck. Technically, you can also do it together with the Sophia in that case, but that's a lot of utility gone for literally nothing there.
Russian operator, Russian map, Russian showdown, and a Russian opening as Pasha trades off with Brask and Joystick, but always, in the midst of all of this, is able to swing around and get the opener. They're starting to try and put some pressure back in. The Lion can't quite connect with the default, popped up always. Gets one more with that massive behemoth of a gun, and now Virtus.pro find themselves yet again 15 seconds trying to pull something together, a 4 versus 1. As the coat that was checked was the one being worn by the man. The shotgun tries to get the last, but it's always to carry them over. As I said, the Russian operator in the Russian showdown gets the triple and puts them in very good stead to lock off this map.
Russian map, Russian teams, Russian operator for the triple kill. Couldn't get more Russian than that. That would be the only way. I bet you someone is going to make an edit now of that triple kill and it's going to put the anthem over. Either way, 6-4. Singular round away is Empire now from picking up the full 3 points. And even though Jess just abandoned them on the desk here as it was going to Cafe, I believed. I put up my 10,000 channel points on them.
You did? I mean, you know, I guess you said that you put them on.
I really think I did. I'm going to check the history of the Google Sheets to make sure no one edited my predictions.
Imagine if you discovered
Imagine if someone did.
All of ours were being edited.
And Jess was the only one to go for VP in the end, and she just changed all of ours.
But that wouldn't make sense.
No, it wouldn't make sense.
that story wouldn't make sense. I think... I'm not good enough with... If I've ever edited someone else's spreadsheet...
Crap walking dairy comes through, by the way.
Yeah, it's a mistake. I just suck with spreadsheets.
I don't speak French.
Oh, is the edit history in French?
Yeah, there's a French. I don't know how to get there now.
Sacre bleu.
Yeah, big sacre bleu. Well, you know what? I'll find out after, and I'll report to Twitter if there has been a crime.
Yeah, if something's gone wrong. Hey, Empire. 1 round is all it takes to lock it off. Virtus.pro have a distance of 2. They've been able to at least find 1 attack round, and they found it pretty well. But since then, they've been a little bit lost in the sauce. Even with the timeout, they got themselves to the 4-3 position, and then it's been 3 rounds threaded by Empire in a row. They're free now to see if they can step up here in the middle again. And if we recall, this sort of fell apart because so much attention was played to Joystick. He was free to sort of sit on that top and be a problematic figure for them. And now it's down to Virtus.pro to try and, I guess, get a handle and make sure they don't get punished in a similar stalled way.
Need to make sure they get their pace on. Need to go to that second floor, actually, in this one, because there is no basement. Openings are being made, though. Just a small one into the piano, probably to get drones through. You might be able to... No, I don't think you might be able to rotate through that. Just 4 of them, of course. Bit of pressure coming down onto the bathroom. Rask on the upside down rappel. Nitro comes out, but Rask not into a position where he could be caught. Scyther, however, does catch someone as WTG to be shot away from those windows, dropped all the way back down. He's just going to stay put, even though his wall has been kind of, well, destroyed a little bit by the VP players. Can just hold on for now. It's going to be challenging the piano and everything that comes with it.
Well, they seem to have a little bit of a sharper take and tack here as they start to bout that pressure. Scythe is here to offer some support. The medic is in, the doctor is on the corner, and they can try and, I guess, predict and potentially overheal through the grenades with the new health system and seeing if they can push and prop and prod against them. Joystick's actually gone a little bit wider. Now they have two of them. It's Milon that suffers the first firefight as Scyther is able to make sure that this top stays under. There are more bodies to try and have a second and third if they want to dig themselves back in, and you can see them setting up for the attempt on the pressure here, but now, obviously, that they've got to see if they can double down. The time has passed. They can't quite get the full revenge, and Scyther's got himself back up to a topped-off top bit of health. The width on the balcony here by Joystick as he's waiting for the crossfire to come through, takes the fight to the man on the opposite side and drops them. That's going to instantly get called, but now suddenly Pasha is in a very tricky situation. Does he go for the fight with the dock? Does he keep crawling and creeping his way forward? Joystick hasn't overextended. There it is, though.
Beautiful
leaving
timing.
Just Rask alone, and it's Joystick that locks it off. Empire find themselves the full win, shut down the run of Virtus.pro, and now with those updated rankings, second is where Empire currently sits.
They're indeed going over to that second place, and that makes them look good for that major. Currently on 13 points, just, you know, Rogue, Havana, teams that are right now behind them, which were before them were ahead of them at the start of this game. Still have to play, still have some points to be gained, but they already put the first step down. They put the first 3 points off the board for today. And with that, well, they are starting to head back towards the major, which will be in Sweden this time. 3 points, just didn't believe in it.
It's always tough to call.
It's always tough.
I'm excited for whatever conversation of I told you so, or I did not maybe tell you so, but I believed that maybe there was possibly a chance might happen over the desk. I can actually already hear them arguing.
Yeah, they're coming in and they're arguing about it.
So we'll throw it to some ads, and then we'll let them do whatever it is that they do. See you soon.